Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and today we have an exciting episode that's going to help you sound smarter and more confident when you speak English. And, of course, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Julia. How are you today, Julia?
Hey Jason, I'm doing great and I'm super excited about today's topic. I think this is something many English learners really want to improve, how to talk faster and still sound smart.
Absolutely. We often hear that fast talkers sound more intelligent, more confident, and even more persuasive. But is that always true? And more importantly, how can English learners speed up their speech without losing clarity?
That's a great question, Jason. A lot of learners hesitate to speak faster because they're afraid of making mistakes or not being understood. And some try to speak quickly but end up stumbling over their words. Today, we're going to break it all down and give you practical tips to improve both speed and clarity.
Exactly. By the end of this episode, you'll learn why speed matters, what mistakes to avoid, and how to practice talking faster in a natural and confident way. So, whether you're preparing for a job interview, a presentation, or just everyday conversations, this episode is for you.
And make sure to stick around until the end because we'll be sharing some powerful exercises that will instantly help you speak English faster.
All right, let's jump right into it. First, let's talk about the psychology behind fast talking. Why do people perceive fast talkers as smart? Let's find out. So, before we jump into the strategies for speaking faster, let's first talk about why fast talkers are often seen as smart. Julia, have you ever noticed that when someone speaks quickly, they seem more confident and knowledgeable?
Yes, definitely. There's actually a psychological reason behind this. When people talk fast, their speech flows smoothly, and they sound more sure of what they're saying. It gives the impression that they really know their stuff.
That's so true. In fact, research shows that people who speak quickly are often perceived as more persuasive and more intelligent. Think about it. Politicians, motivational speakers, and even TV hosts often talk fast. It keeps people engaged.
Exactly. And there's another interesting point. When someone speaks fast, our brains assume they aren't hesitating because they are confident in their knowledge. On the other hand, when someone speaks too slowly, it can sometimes make them sound unsure or less certain about their ideas.
Right. But here's something important. Talking fast alone doesn't make you smart. If you're speaking quickly, but without clear ideas or good pronunciation, people might just think you're rushing and not really making sense.
That's a great point. Speaking fast is only effective when combined with clarity. If someone talks super fast but mumbles or uses too many uhs and ums, it actually makes them harder to understand, not smarter.
Exactly. So, the key is to find the right balance. Talk fast enough to sound fluent and confident, but not so fast that you lose clarity. And that's what we'll help you with in this episode.
Yes. And let's not forget, speaking speed also depends on the situation. For example, in a business presentation or a debate, a faster pace can make you sound sharp and persuasive. But if you're giving instructions or explaining something complex, you might need to slow down a little to make sure your message is clear.
That's such a great point, Julia. So, now that we understand why speed matters, let's talk about something really important. Why many English learners struggle to speak fast. If you've ever tried to talk faster and ended up feeling nervous or making mistakes, don't worry. We're going to break it down for you. Ready, Julia?
Absolutely. Let's dive into the biggest challenges English learners face when trying to speak faster.
All right? Now that we understand why talking fast can make you sound smart and confident, let's talk about something really important. Why many English learners struggle to speak fast. Julia, what do you think is the #1 reason?
Great question, Jason. One of the biggest reasons is overthinking. Many English learners try to translate every word from their native language before speaking, and that slows them down.
Exactly. If your brain is busy translating, it's like driving with the handbrake on. You just can't move fast. That's why thinking directly in English is so important.
Yes, but I know it's easier said than done. If you're always thinking, what's the right word? Am I using the right grammar? You end up hesitating, and that slows down your speech.
That's true. And that actually leads to another problem. Fear of making mistakes. A lot of learners worry too much about being perfect, so they speak very slowly to avoid errors.
Exactly. But the truth is, mistakes are part of the learning process. When native speakers talk, they make mistakes too. They correct themselves, repeat words, and still keep going.
That's such an important point. If you focus too much on perfection, it can stop you from speaking fluently. Instead of worrying about every little mistake, focus on getting your message across.
Right, another challenge is pronunciation struggles. Some words in English are tricky, especially when they have difficult sounds or when two words blend together in fast speech.
Yes. For example, many learners struggle with contractions like gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to. Native speakers use these all the time, which makes their speech faster and more natural.
That's a great example. If someone tries to pronounce every word perfectly, like, I am going to meet my friend later, it takes longer. But if they say, I'm gonna meet my friend later, it sounds smoother and faster.
Exactly. And that brings us to another challenge: not knowing common phrases and sentence patterns. If you have to think about every word, you'll always be slow. But if you practice common phrases, you can say them automatically without thinking.
Yes, phrases like, I don't know, that sounds great, or let me think about it are used all the time in conversations. If you memorize these, you won't have to pause and search for words.
That's so true. And there's one more big reason learners struggle to speak fast: lack of practice with real conversations. If you only read or listen, but don't practice speaking, your brain doesn't get used to forming words quickly.
Yes, speaking is like a muscle. You have to train it. If you only practice in your head but never out loud, it's going to be difficult to speak fast when you need to.
Exactly.